along with planting a garden. It's something the students are excited about.
I feel that they really care about this school and they really care about our education.
I think it's kind of awesome how all the people come together and actually make the school really bright and fun for the kids to play and be really active.
This is just one of the many things the Dodgers do to give back.
The Los Angeles Dodgers are part of the cultural fabric here in Los Angeles, and it is our responsibility to help meet the community needs, and we do that in various ways. We bring kids to the stadium, we do work in the community like today, and so we feel very responsible.
Responsible for a gift that will impact generations of students to come. I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
A controversial LAPD pilot program is about to take off. Metro kicks off a new campaign to remind riders to mind their manners, and a couple of beloved music teachers from San Fernando High School get special recognition. All these stories in City Beat. The Police Commission, the civilian panel that oversees the Los Angeles Police Department, approved a drone pilot program several months after the department first presented what it called a limited plan to use the technology. The approval came despite opposition from activists who consider the technology a threat to civil liberties. Only 6% of the nearly 1,700 emails the department received about the program were in support of it. According to the guidelines the commission approved, drones would be used in a limited capacity, including high-risk tactical operations, barricaded armed suspect responses, hostage rescues, and situations involving threats of exposure to hazardous materials. Metro has launched an online and print etiquette campaign to raise public awareness about proper behavior and manners while riding its buses and trains. The Metro Manners campaign uses anime characters and focuses on what the agency said are some of the most common etiquette problems on the transportation system, including seat hogging, blocking aisles, and eating and drinking while riding. The campaign features actress and YouTube star Anna Akana as Superkind, Metro's official protector of the agency's customer code of conduct, who battles a monster named Rude Dude, who frequently violates Metro's etiquette rules.
And these rules are in place to ensure that everybody has an enjoyable ride on Metro and that they respect other people's rights when they're on the transit system.
Los Angeles City Councilwomen Monica Rodriguez and Nuri Martinez designated the intersection at Laurel Canyon Boulevard and Chamberlain Street as Giger Square to honor the late Richard Giger Jr. and Ellen Giger, beloved band and drill team instructors at San Fernando High School. Richard Giger Jr., who directed the San Fernando High School marching band, passed away in November of 2016. During the couple's 17-year tenure, the band won 13 LA Unified School District band and drill team championships. The school's music building and mural were also recently dedicated to Richard Giger Jr. Martinez and Rodriguez are both graduates of San Fernando High School.
They were absolutely dedicated and taught us to be the very best of ourselves.
Well, Boyle Heights just got a new landmark that celebrates female empowerment of all kinds. But the artist just might surprise you. Anna Marcos takes us to the unveiling.
Murals are back in a big way in Boyle Heights, and this one, called Empowerment, is causing quite a buzz. It's the work of a 15-year-old girl.
Seeing the faces of little girls passing by and smiling and asking questions about the mural gave me such a sense of accomplishment.
For Isabel Panado, it all started with a Girl Scout badge. She wanted to earn the Gold Award, the highest Girl Scout honor, but her mural proposal soon turned into an epic art project to celebrate women leaders of all races.
I want everyone that passes by to feel like their ethnicity is up here and that they're important, and for them to learn about the different women up here.
The artist who does this starts to become something like the person they're painting. And that's what I think about Isabel, who saw something in it.
Panado sure picked some great role models. Besides Rosa Parks, there's leaders like Mae Jemison, the first African-American woman astronaut. There's a Supreme Court justice, a talk show host, a women's rights activist, a singer, a novelist, even Princess Diana. Oh, and don't forget famous Mexican artist Frida Kahlo.
It also is a tribute to female power,
diversity, and social change.
Councilmember Jose Huizar and his family helped Panado with encouragement, funding, and a building on which to paint her mural. Huizar's daughter, a classmate of Panado's at the LA County High School for the Arts, even pitched in with the painting, as did other classmates.
This is where the mural movement started for the city of Los Angeles, and it spread throughout the city. And at one time, we were known as having the most public murals anywhere in the world. Unfortunately, because of some lawsuits, there was a 10-year ban on murals in the city.
Luckily, the ban on murals was lifted in 2013. As for Panado, well, she put in well over the 80 hours required for the Gold Award with a whopping 600 hours. We think somebody just earned that Gold Award Girl Scout badge. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
Panado says she's been taking art classes since she was 5, but her goal is to become a photographer or architecture designer. Well, come out for the Dia de los Muertes celebration at Hollywood Forever Cemetery. Learn all about death and mourning during the Victorian era, and a Halloween carnival that's sure to keep the kids entertained. All this in this week's Things to Do. Hollywood Forever Cemetery is proud to present the 18th annual Dia de los Muertes Festival, recognizing the legacy of Posada. Over 100 years ago, Posada gave us many of the foundational images of Dia de los Muertes that are still venerated today and which have become treasured images of Mexican culture and identity. J.G. Posada reminds us that art is power, mass-produced by the printing presses and now social media. Come celebrate on October 28th at 12 p.m. at Hollywood Forever Cemetery, located at 6000 Santa Monica Boulevard. History buffs step back in time for the 14th annual Halloween and Mourning Tour at the Heritage Square Museum. Learn all about death and mourning etiquette during the Victorian era, the movement of spiritualism, and how other cultures celebrate and remember their loved ones. From authentic Victorian attire to fortune-telling, this morbid affair is not to be missed. It all takes place on Saturday, October 28th and Sunday, October 29th at the Heritage Square Museum, located at 3800 Homer Street. For more, visit heritagesquare.org. For even more Halloween fun, head on over to the Halloween Festival and Haunted Maze at the North Hollywood Rec Center. There will be plenty of activities for the kids, along with candy and games, cookie decorating, mummy wraps, bobbing for radioactive donuts, and bingo for the adults. The fun begins at 3 p.m. on Saturday, October 28th at 11430 Chandler Boulevard in North Hollywood. And that's a look at some things to do.
It's astounding. Time is fleeting.
Well, that's going to do it for this edition. I'm Yana Kane from all of us here at LA This Week. Thanks for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
Hi, I'm Kevin from Chatsworth, offering you a taste of New Orleans since 1986. You're watching LA City View, Channel 35. Our city, our channel.
Sergeant, you can, okay, thank you. All right, we have a quorum. Good morning and welcome to Los Angeles City Council. Today is Wednesday, October 25th. I want to thank you and congratulate the Dodgers on their first game of the World Series. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Blumenfield, Bonner, Buscaino, Cedillo, Engler, Hess, Dawson, Weezer, Carrasco, Cran, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Rodriguez, Rue, Wesson. 10 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Great, thank you very much. First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Mr. Blumenfield moves, Mr. Bonin seconds. Next item, please.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Okay, Mr. Koretz moves, Mr. O'Farrell seconds. Next item, please.
Mr. President, there is a request from member to continue item 1 to November 28. Again, that's item 1 to November 28.
Terrific. That'll be the order without objection. Next item, please.
Very good, sir. That brings us to items 2 through 16. They're items noticed for public hearing.
All right. I'm assuming we've got cards on all.
Yes, sir. Cards on all items.
All right. So we'll go ahead and hold those items for cards. Next item, please.
Items 17 and 18 are items for which public hearings have been held.
Okay. Mr. Kretz, did you wish to hold an item? 17 or 18?
Yes, if you could save hold item 17.
Okay, we'll go ahead and hold that on the desk. We'll go ahead and take up item 18. Colleagues, we'll go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
That's approved. Next items, please. We'll actually go ahead now. Let's go into Mr. Kretz, you ready for your presentation? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Cedillo, did you have a reconsideration? Oh, Mr. Bonner.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to ask that we reconsider agenda item 44 from Tuesday, October 24, per Council Rule 51, Council File 17-005-S280, the subject matter, the rent restoration case for 354 South 4th Avenue.
Okay, we'll go ahead and we need a second on that. Second? Okay, then we'll go ahead and open the roll on that item for reconsideration. Mm-hmm. Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Then that item's before us. What would you like to do with that?
I'd like to approve the item as it is.
Approve the item. Okay, we'll go ahead and open the roll for approval.
Thank you.
Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
And that is approved. Thank you very much. All right. Mr. Kretz, are you ready for your presentation? Then the floor is yours.
Well, good morning, colleagues. After 36 years of dedicated service to UCLA, Vice Chancellor Keith Parker has decided that the end of December will mark his UCLA retirement. Keith has accomplished a lot that's worthy of celebration, and I am honored to recognize him today, which coincides with the UCLA Downtown Day. I'm especially honored to not only represent UCLA in my district, but to be a proud UCLA alum, along with my wife and my daughter. In all of these roles, I've known Keith and worked with him on a variety of issues, and I can tell you that over the years, Keith has served UCLA staff, students, administration, and alumni across a variety of roles and served them very well. He began his longstanding tenure serving in campus human resources. He then served as senior consultant in the UCLA Staff Administrative Action Office in 1982 and rose to become the Campus Staff Affirmative Action Officer in 1993. In 1995, Keith took on additional responsibilities, serving as the university's executive officer for the Administrative Services Division, and then 3 years later, he transitioned to External Affairs to serve as the Assistant Vice Chancellor for Government and Community Relations, with responsibilities for managing UCLA's interface with elected officials at the local, state, and federal levels of government. In his tenure, Keith built enduring relationships with elected officials throughout local, state, and federal government, as well as civic leaders across greater LA and within our neighboring communities. Under his leadership at Government and Community Relations, he was responsible for building bridges with 22 members of Congress, 35 members of the California State Legislature, 15 of us here on the City Council, 5 members of the LA County Board of Supervisors, and other local legislative bodies. Keith has led advocacy efforts for UCLA that span the service of 3 chancellors, 4 UC presidents, 3 U.S. presidents and Donald Trump, 3 California governors, 4 Los Angeles mayors, and scores of county supervisors, council members, assembly, state, and congressional members. And Keith has answered the call of service to advance the university's mission of public service by leading community and civic engagement initiatives, volunteer opportunities, and expertise and thought leadership on priority areas. And he's championed advocacy efforts for the 3 segments of public higher education in California by convening UCLA, CSU, and LACCD leadership to meet with legislative leaders. Also, Keith's leadership is widely recognized throughout the UC system, as has his partnership with colleagues across the higher education landscape. UCLA is considered a role model in higher education advocacy because of the manner in which our government and community relations teams mobilize to support the campus and the system. And I'm personally filled with gratitude for Keith's longstanding leadership, humbled by his commitment to UCLA for more than 3.5 decades, and excited for him as he embarks on new journeys and fresh horizons. I also would point out that he could be a good luck charm for the Dodgers because he started in 1981 when we won the World Series, and he is retiring in 2017 when we're also about to win the World Series.
Go Dodgers.
So I'd now like to ask Daryl Johnson to come up to say a few words.
Thank you. It's a great honor to be here on Keith's Day. Keith has been a strong supporter of my alma mater, UCLA, and I am glad to have been a part of that. He is also one of my best friends, and it is an honor to be here today to support him in this endeavor and to wish him the best of luck in the future. Thank you, Keith, for everything you've done.
Thank you, my brother. Also, I'd like to ask Rhea Turtletop to come up and say a few words.
Thank you. I'm the Vice Chancellor for External Affairs, and so on behalf of everybody at UCLA, we're just so proud of Keith and this honor and recognition for him. Over 3 decades worth of service to our university is really quite extraordinary, and we have been so fortunate to have his leadership, his partnership, and his friendship on our first team and beyond.
Thank you. Now, Keith, would you?
Well, before he does, before you go there, we have several members on the queue, and I know, Mr. Price, don't talk about 50-0. We're not going to bring that up. But before we actually go over to the members, Keith, I just want to say you have been a phenomenal friend, not only just of me personally, but the city. And very grateful, have had the opportunity to work with you on so many different initiatives, and both here and going to Washington, D.C. on many occasions together. You have truly been a great leader, not just for a terrific institution, but for so many people and so many programs. And I wish you the best. We actually have the first speaker on the queue is Mr. Cedillo.
So let me say that I'm proud of you, but I'm not happy one bit about today, because as long as I'm in office, I expect you to be there at UCLA. You're the person that I call. You're the go-to person. Even when there's questions that aren't directly related to your bailiwick, you are the first person I go to map out a strategy, find direction, take your counsel, figure out how I can move my agenda forward. It's been a pleasure to work with you. You are the consummate professional. And I say that because it's easy to love UCLA. Who doesn't? It's the #1 public institution in America. It's a great university, world-renowned. Anywhere you go in the world, people know about UCLA. Who doesn't love the Bruins? So that's easy. But the tougher part is your job. Community relations, government relations, labor relations. And I want to give you an example of how professional Keith is. There was a time in the legislature where there was a conflict between, I think it was AFSCME, who was trying to organize, and unions will do what they do, and they have their tactics, their strategies. As you know, I support unions in their efforts to make sure that working men and women are treated with dignity and respect at their workplace. They don't always inform us of what they plan to do, and so I was involved in setting up a meeting with the chancellor and AFSCME. And I have to tell you, this was a really difficult meeting. Difficult. There were a few men there who were talking about the difficulties they had at work. It's difficult when a man breaks down and cries in front of you. It's something that we're very uncomfortable with. It was overall one of the most difficult and unfortunate and unpleasant meetings I've ever participated in. And you had to do the same, and you had to represent the chancellor. And so we went through the meeting. The matter got resolved as it did. But then after you came to me and spoke to me very affirmatively on behalf of the chancellor, and I appreciated it because you were professional, you were adamant, you were a bit stern, but you also recognized the line of professionalism both you and I had come to respect and to actually cherish, because we were both professionals and we had to do what we had to do, but not once would we cross the line and be unprofessional. And that, for me, is a hallmark of your leadership, because you could be a strong advocate, you did your job, but you did so in a way that was extremely professional. I will always remember you for that, because, as you know, I love the university, like you. My experiences with Winston Dobie as an undergrad, his mentorship has served all of us well, and so I thank you. I'm not happy that you're not going to be there. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. I expect you to be there. I'm going to call you anyway. Whether you're there or not, I'm going to call you anyway. You'll still be my first call to the university, wherever you're at. Thank you. Your family deserves you. You've paid your dues. God bless you, and thank you for what you've done for the university. But don't ever think that you're not going to take my call. God bless you.
Councilmember Rue. Oh, wait.
And Mr. Cedillo, I do want to point out that I did try to talk him out of it, but he informed me that that ship has already sailed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Councilmember Koretz, for bringing Keith. Wow, this is it's an end of an era. Ever since I became an alumnus of UCLA, and I ever did anything with UCLA, all I could remember is you. And it was such a pleasure working with you, and you've advanced UCLA. I mean, with UCLA Advocacy Day and everything that you do, and I know it's dangerous for me to say this, but the particular extra attention you gave to me in my office compared to all the other alumnus on the board, on the city council here. But I made sure, I know it's UCLA Advocacy Day today, but I wanted to make sure I wore blue and gold just for you. But thank you for being such a great partner. As Councilmember Cedillo said, I mean, you might be retiring, but you know how retirement goes these days. You just get more involved in other things, including UCLA. So I'm sure you'll be sitting on numerous boards. You won't be able to really leave because once you're a Bruin family, you're always a Bruin family. So, but thank you so much for your service. I'm sure your wife and your family is kind of happy now that you can spend a little bit more time with them. But thank you so much, and it's been such a pleasure working with you, and I look forward to continue working with you in different capacities.
Councilmember Harris Dawson.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair and members. Congratulations, you finally made it to this day. I feel like the moment I signed up and said I was going to run, your first response to me was, well, I'm retiring, so don't start in with me. And that was almost 3.5 years ago. And so I'm happy for you on this day. Something that no other member of this body can claim, that I proudly claim, is that UCLA is a great institution and you've been a great leader, but you are a resident of the 8th Council District, of which I am very, very proud. And we thank you for your years of service, not only in my office here at City Hall, but this was true at Community Coalition, true of a lot of the entrepreneurs, and especially the social service agencies that hold up South LA. Those organizations don't get staffed and they don't run if UCLA is not producing new leadership every year. And you've been one of the key people that made sure people get in, but more importantly, to make sure they get through. And so I'm very grateful to you for that, eternally grateful, and all of South Los Angeles is grateful for your services. So thank you.
Councilmember Price.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is really a bittersweet day, Keith. We applaud your years and years and years. You say 3 decades of service? Wow, I didn't know you were that seasoned. But seriously, Keith, we just really appreciate you, man, and your service. You've been a friend not only to UCLA, but a friend to this entire community. And I'm especially appreciative of your efforts in trying to make sure that we have the kids of color get into the university and that they are successful and they get out. And especially your attention to black students, making sure that we are representing the talent pool there in the university-wide, but also especially at UCLA. And so again, thank you for your service to the community. You've always been there. And I think, hey, Gil, I thought he was my go-to guy. It looks like he's everybody's go-to guy on any questions involving UCLA. And so we just appreciate you. We're going to miss you, but we know that we won't be losing you, that you'll still be actively involved and engaged in the community. We look forward to continuing to work with you, and congratulations on this milestone, and we look forward to others as well. Congratulations.
Councilmember Huizar.
Thank you, Mr. President. Happy graduation, Keith. No, happy retirement, and thank you for your service. It's been a pleasure serving with you, and I really appreciated your enthusiasm and commitment to getting UCLA out in the community, whether it was Service Day or other opportunities to see UCLA students, alum, painting a school, for example, or cleaning up a neighborhood, or just telling kids the possibilities for them. It was a great sight to see all the time when we see so many people committed to every part of the city, and UCLA was there because of your leadership, your commitment, and enthusiasm. So thank you so much. And one of the most important pieces of advice I got from Keith is that when I saw him at a Cal UCLA game. I went to Cal undergrad and UCLA Law School, but he saw me in my Cal gear. He goes, "Council member, what are you doing? Do you know who votes for you?" So I will always cherish the times we've worked together, we've played together, but more importantly, I've learned a lot from you in terms of what it means to be committed to this great city and to a great university. Thank you so much, and happy retirement.
Councilmember Blumenfield.
Thank you. Like a lot of my colleagues, I'm a little confused because I thought you were my go-to guy, and we're learning that you've been two-timing all of us. That being said, I know you cited as being a resident of the 8th District, and UCLA is on the west side, but one of the amazing things is that you were not a stranger to the San Fernando Valley either. And I always appreciated that, whether it was a service day that Mr. Weezark talked about, or a panel at CSUN, or any of the number of things we did together. You were a presence, and I appreciated that. I didn't know you when I was a Bruin, when I went to the business school, but I got to know you in multiple capacities when I worked for Congressman Berman, and at the state level, we faced some very difficult choices, but we worked together on some of the tough budget times, and that I always appreciated, and was able to continue that relationship here through as a city council person. There's been a lot of change at UCLA and at the state and the nation, but one of the constants has been you representing UCLA, and that has been great for the institution. It's been great for all of us who've interacted, and we just wish you the best in your retirement. So congratulations.
Herb Wesson.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. I am so glad that I made it. I was rushing down the 10 freeway with my lights flashing and sirens. No, I don't have lights. It's sirens. But I did have something to do, but I wanted to get here. This guy is a great guy. Has been a friend of mine since I was first Mr. Cedillo elected to the Assembly, where I served with you. Every resource that the great institution that he represents, every resource that UCLA had was always at my disposal and the disposal to any of us. Keith is the kind of guy that always is reaching out, trying to help. And for a short period of time, he and I would run around a track together. He would run around the track. I would walk. I would saunter. Cool around the track. And we had many conversations. He's a dear friend. I cannot believe that I won't be able to pick up the phone and call you and have you supply whatever it is that I need. But I'm just glad that I'm here because I want to say there are good people and there are great people, and then there are people that are above greatness. And for me, I have a very close-knit circle of friends, and I'm so honored to consider Keith one of those friends. So we wish you the best. And then remember when I stole UCLA from Koretz when we were in the Assembly? And that's how Koretz woke up one day and I had UCLA. And now he comes to City Hall and gets them back. But anyway, I'm gonna miss seeing you in your capacity, but I look forward to continuing our association as friends. So members, this is a great man, a good friend, and an asset to the greatest city on the planet, which is Los Angeles. Los Angeles, and that's Brother Keith Parker. I'm glad I got in enough time to say a few words. I wish you well, and I will see you on the track. I'll go sit in the stands and eat popcorn as I watch you run around. Anyways, give Keith another round of applause. He deserves it.
All right, now we get to hear from the guy that has more gold ties than anybody I've ever met.
Thank you so much, Mr. Englander. Mr. Koretz, got to give Mr. Koretz another hug. Council President Wesson, members of the City Council, I am so very honored and so very humbled by this occasion. You can't even begin to know what this means to me, what it means to have my family here. You know, your family, they don't really know what you do. They just know you go someplace else, you come back, and then you go someplace else again. So I'm very, very proud of my family, and I'm very happy for this opportunity. But I know that in our lives, there are very few singular accomplishments, that our accomplishments really come from the work, the support of others. And so when Council President Wesson had his local swearing in as Speaker in 2002 at UCLA, I'll never forget then Speaker Wesson said, "It's not about me, it's about we, it's about us." And so this honor isn't about me, it's about us And this is some of my us. And I have to start with my wife, Paulette, because I want to go home tonight. I would not get anywhere in life without Paulette's love and support. And Paulette is always there for me. And, baby, I appreciate you so much. So I want to thank Paulette. I want to thank other family members. My cousins, Janet and Tony, these are like my sisters. And they are here with me. My cousin Ray, who's like a little brother, is here with me. I have so many family members, Chris and Carol, who are spouses of my family members, and my nephew, Stefan, and my niece, Erica. Those of you who have seen the pictures of their little boys, my little treasured nephews.
We've all seen the pictures.
These are their parents.
We've all seen the pictures.
These are the children Paulette and I never had. And the people I work with. You know, I've got my boss here, who you heard from, Rhea Turtletop. I cherish Rhea's support, Rhea's partnership. We are what we call our first team because we are bonded together in so many ways. The three wise men, Richard Benbow, who was here, Richard Jr., Daryl Johnson. We're the three wise men because during UCLA basketball and football games, we tweet to each other, we send messages to each other, we complain, and we celebrate with each other. Howard Walensky, who's a dear, dear friend, and all of you know Howard Walensky. Howard has organized the California Coalition for Public Higher Education, which will be one of my retirement projects because that's our pact to work across the three segments to save and build more support for higher education. You see Marco Perez, you see Carmen Healy, who are our local staff that are here with you and your staff all of the time. You see, come up, Stephanie Roberts. Stephanie has worked with me, and I've worked for her for 23 years. And I would be lost every day without Stephanie. I can't tell you how many times during the day and night I've called Stephanie, where am I supposed to be? Who am I supposed to see? What do I have next? And so I wouldn't be able to do anything and wouldn't have done anything without Stephanie Roberts.
Thank you, Keith.
Al Aubin. Al has been at UCLA 53 years as a student and as an employee. And when UCLA turns 100 in 2019, he will be at 55 years. I can't explain it. I've been to 3 retirement parties of his. And Al never goes away. He always comes back with a new incarnation. And then, come up, Richard. And then Richard Benbow. Richard will be replacing me, and I am so proud to be able to pass the baton to Richard. This is Richard III. You know Richard Jr., who was head of CRA all those years. I am so proud to pass the baton to Richard. He will be a great leader for our team and take our team even further along. So I've had a great 36 years. It's been wonderful. Oh, I'm sorry. Naomi McSwain. Where's Naomi? From the Al Wooten Center. I'm on their board. It's a project that the council member, Harris Dawson, has supported. The Al Wooten Center has been an important part for me and will be a greater important part of my life going forward. So it has been 36 years. It's a long time, but it's been a very, very good time. I couldn't have imagined working anyplace else. I couldn't have imagined having the opportunities that UCLA provided for me. When I think about my time, I think about the relationships I've been able to build over those years. I think about the people. I see some of our former staff working for you, Vincent Wong, Rachel Brazier, Brianna Weaver. All of them worked at UCLA in government community relations. Brianna was my intern for 3 years. And Brianna's somebody that I'm going to end up working for one day, and some of you might be working for her too. I think about the relationships, I think about the people, I think about the things we're able to accomplish. UCLA is a very, very special place to me with very special people who do amazing things. And so while I'll be retiring, I'm not leaving Los Angeles. I was born in Los Angeles. I love Los Angeles. Los Angeles will always be in my heart. And whatever I can do, as Mr. Cedillo calls me, any of you can call me, and I'll get the calls to Richard. Anything I can do to be helpful, I will. Thank you very, very much for this honor. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Let's give it up again for Keith Parker. And Mr. Kretz, Mr. Wesson, you know, We regularly have, and we're some very special people where we get to honor them here for various reasons and retirements. And I cannot recall where we've actually had somebody here that took the time to introduce every single person that was standing with them, including former staff that were working around the horseshoe, to recognize them by name, to recognize their contributions to their institutions. That is a rarity, and it speaks volumes of who you are and who you've been. And so thank you for that, and thanks for being here and everything you've done. Let's give them another round of applause.
It's not about me, it's about
That's
we.
right, clearly.
It's about us.
And despite him saying that, we want to commend him on an amazing career, and we all wish you, Keith, the best of luck and much success in all your future endeavors. So on behalf of the City of Los Angeles, here's a certificate thanking you for all your great work.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The doctors. Oh boy, but when you get out here, you can't miss those.
Yes, and we have a special recognition by Councilmember David Rue.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today, I'd like to make a special recognition for a group of special students that are here today. Students from the Sherman Oaks Elementary. Why don't you guys stand up?
Give them a round of applause.
If you guys look up on the screen, you're going to be on TV today, so wave high. There you go. We are joined by Sherman Oaks Elementary, 26 students and 5 chaperones, led by their teacher, who was recognized as the Wonder Woman of the 4th, one of my honorees last year, Robin Arnold. They are here observing City Council. They're going on a tour of City Hall, and then they're going to have lunch with me. Oh, no, they're going to have lunch later in the building, and I'm going to try to join as well. This is the 3rd grade class, and they have started a new literacy program. And the first unit is called Government for the People. They're learning about their local, state, and federal governments, and later they're going to have an election themselves where they're going to vote on whether they like M&Ms or Skittles better. So the students are all researching all the different council members and who they represent, which council members represent them, and they will be delivering their research reports to all of our council members. So I really want to thank Sherman Oaks Elementary. Thank you guys for being here. And thank you to the teacher. Yay. And have a good day today, okay?
All right. Let's give them another round of applause for being here. And hey, if you guys can stand up again, I just want to point out, look, you guys are dressed to the nines. You look fantastic. Some of you guys look at this, Mr. Bonin. Some of them are wearing ties today here. This is great. So, thanks for being here. Are you going to go start your tour now? All right, go start your tour because we want to go into general public comment. And before we do that, we'll make sure you start your tour. All right, trust me on that one. Mr. Cedillo.
Yes, my staff reminds me that we would like to reconsider item 18 for technical amendments.
Reconsider 18?
18.
Okay, we'll go ahead and open the roll for reconsideration on 18. Close the roll and tabulate the vote. And then we're going to go ahead and hold that item right now until it's circulated, and we'll come back to it.
Thank you.
Okay?
14 ayes.
Okay, so that's not before us, and we'll wait for the circulation on that item. All right, we still have the kids in here from school, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and general public. We're going to go ahead and go into multi-speaker cards first. Wayne, I'm going to call you up and let you know the kids are still in here. And so I'd like you to be respectful of that, please. And you've got on items 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yes, now we're having the puppet show. So number 2, we have private ambulance service. Private ambulance service was needed because all of these people up here are very, very old, yes. So we need to have this private ambulance service for these very old council people because they're so old, they're about to expire, yes. So we support number 2. Number 3, Broadway and Olympic Boulevard. It's the sighting of Weezer in CD 14. No, and number 3. Number 4, CD 7, Sunland Park area. Monica was very, very nice to my friend yesterday, so we support the item. Number 5 is CD 5, known as Peppa Pig Corette's. Peppa Pig! So we say, well, what do you think?
Go ahead, support it.
I support number 5. Number 6, maintenance of Culver Boulevard, CD 11. It's by the gentleman who never wears a tie. Thank you, Mr. Englander, for telling the kids that Bonnet never wears a tie. No on number 6. Number 7, Hoover and 13th. We defeated you. No to O'Farrell and your taxes. No, we don't want that. Now we turn to more lighting districts. Everywhere you go, CD 15, that's down by the harbor. The Silver Tongue Cop, yes. No on number 8, number 9, CD 2. And you know what that means? No to that. Number 7, CD 7 again, Monica. Are we going to approve it? Yes, we support everything in CD 7 just for today. Number 11, CD 11, the person who doesn't wear a tie. Some people refer to as a drug addict. Yes, we say no to number 11 and the drug addict. Number 12, we need lighting. Yes, Hollywood, yes, we support that. Commonwealth is very dangerous. One time I walked down Commonwealth Avenue, almost did not make it home. Number 12, more lighting. Number 13, more lighting. Number 14, CD 4, 5, and 6. Oh, it's CD 6.
More lighting, more lighting. Yes to lighting for CD 6 so that you can see the drugs you're buying. Yes. All right, now I get to the 1 minute.
You get your 1 minute of general public comment.
So we got Jose Weezer deciding to take on the First Amendment, kicks me out illegally 2 times in the Plum Committee. What have I done? What have I done to the man from Zacatecas? What have I done to the man who paid for the sexual harassment settlement? What have I done to the man who has a DUI while in office? Why does Jose Weezer want to step in the shoes of Herman Jason Wesson Jr.? Don't be a Herb. I keep saying, don't join Herb Wesson. That's like signing up for boot camp for 18 years of your life. So that's the bad news. The good news, Rue did well. Herb tried to throw me out illegally. The chair was Rue at the committee yesterday. He said no. And then Monica Rodriguez chaired perfectly and complied with the Brown Act. Good job to CD 7, and I'm glad she's there. That's it.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, let's go ahead and vote on items 10, 11, 14, 15, and 16. So again, colleagues, that's 10, item 11, 14, 15, and 16. So we'll go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Those items are approved. Thank you very much. Next, multiple speaker card, Mr. Previn. Mr. Previn, please stay on items 6, 7, 8. Those are the three you filled out. 6, 7, and 8. Okay, and number 9. So basically, you have items 2, 7, 9, 12, 13. Stick to those items, or you forfeit your time and go on to general public comment. Thank you very much.
Thank you. My name is Eric Previn. I'm from CD2. I live in Studio City. Items 7 and 9 are both lighting districts. One, I believe, in CD2, our district, and another in 13, Mr. O'Farrell's district. Now, in this case, we've seen a little insurrection, and we are finding that a majority protest exists. This means that they balloted the parties who will be sharing this expense. It's an assessment to put up some lights. Now, sometimes the lights are really helpful. They will reduce crime. I know some of us are obsessed with that, and it can be very helpful. Other people are not excited about the assessments and the lights and such. Here, we see two separate groups who have protested. They filled out the sufficient number of ballots. Now, fortunately, I looked into it a little bit, and sometimes what you have is people sign up for the ballot. I mean, they vote, and then miraculously, sir, it's a little bit like you and Mr. Wesson losing cards. There is a claim that they didn't have the decisive, they never got it. So this is a real disappointment. Now, in the case where the locals prevail and protest, we have a different strategy, which is the strategy of reballoting. And so once the organized group is kind of stood up, they'll shove it through one way or the other. Sometimes. We can't speak about every single time, sir. Item number 2 is a man who requires a great deal of acknowledgement, Mr. Arnie Berghoff, who's a lobbyist down here. And this is about ambulance services. And everybody knows Arnie has been working with AMR for a very long time. And they treat him very, very well. And nobody does a better job of maneuvering through the various council offices. I can't think of anybody who does a better job than Mr. Berghoff. And I know that they did take a big disappointment over at the county on a huge contract recently. So that's why it's all the more important that we get the terms right for his clients all day long, every single day for the people. So thank you for looking at that. Item number 12 and 13, sir, you brought up are permissible to speak on. And here we have really some protests for the other side of it. It's the earlier lighting district. It's my understanding they'll all be coming back on November 22nd, 2017. So we look forward to that. Hopefully more groups will raise their voice, and hopefully the city could treat them. I remember being down in the bowels of City Hall with a reporter from the Los Angeles Times trying to get folks to disclose the ballots for the vote, and they were all just throwing their hands up in the air. In that case, it was a BID, or Business Improvement District. So there's 30 seconds left, and I could simply say on these items that I'm ready to go on to the general public comment. I don't see any point in commenting.
Okay, start
on
as 1 minute.
Repeated, yeah, okay. So, first of all, I'd like to ask Colin Sweeney to ask you, sir, whether or not at First Amendment gatherings you believe that individuals who have a license to carry should be allowed to carry. Because you've gone out of the way to make all sorts of items that are legal in society illegal at First Amendment gatherings. It was a great disappointment to, I think, every one of the public speakers. There was additional disappointment that you truncated some of those speakers. You denied one person who had come in and was putting a card in the window. And so then on item 5 up in public safety, which is your effort to reintroduce the idea that it's a misdemeanor if somebody doesn't listen to you from on high. And that is a real red flag. As I made clear to Mr. Rue this morning, I said, Mr. Rue, who's celebrating himself at the moment, but he understood, and Mr. O'Farrell understood that DACA individuals could be detained at First Amendment events, and that could turn into something much worse. But then O'Farrell pulled a Yaroslavsky and went, oh, I understand, thank you. Didn't do anything about it. So I'm asking the council, when it comes to you, to vote against these draconian measures to limit First Amendment rights.
All right, thank you. And the next speaker is Mr. Walsh. Items 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those are the items you've got. And Let's stick to the items, please.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org or J. Walsh Confidential. I'm street lighting. I signed up for more than 6, 7, and 8. Asking the city clerk what items I signed up for. He's not even paying
Again, you signed up again. I read them as you walked up, and twice, and I'll read it again. Items 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those are the items that you signed up to speak on. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Okay, item 2, this is fixing the rates and charges for private ambulance service in the city of Los Angeles. God forbid you have to take a private ambulance. It can cause just a heart attack if you take itself. And fixing the rates, skyrocketing, that means raising the rates. Number 3, this is improvement and maintenance of the Broadway and Olympic Street Lighting District. That's to help the developers. Street lighting is very, very expensive, and other cities, the developer has to pay the street lighting, but here in LA, you pay the street lighting. Anyway, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are all street lighting. I'd like to go right now to my 1 minute, and I want you to know that the mayor's father has let his license to practice law lapse.
That's not anything under our purview. Please
Oh,
stick
yes,
with items.
it is.
Wayne, if you're going to disrupt this meeting, you're going to be asked to leave.
City attorney, I want a ruling. Can I mention that someone has allowed his license to lapse, who is a person who lives in the city of Los Angeles? She says nothing. Hey, why don't you just keep your mouth shut and listen? This is my public comment, and you don't have a right to... City attorney is the only one that has a right to, or city clerk, to stop me from talking. They don't want you to know that the mayor's father was so damn cheap that he let his law license lapse. You can check it out now. You can pull your finger out of your ass, David Zanheiser, and check it out. The mayor's father, who's running for president, has allowed his law license to lapse.
All right, thank you very much. Wayne, that's your fair and final warning. So if you're going to disrupt the meeting, then you're going to be asked to leave. So we're going to go ahead, colleagues, and take up items 2 through 9, and then number 12 and 13. So 2 through 9, 12 and 13. All right. Please open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Okay, and then item 2, colleagues, we'll like to move that urgent forthwith, so we'll go ahead and open the roll on item 2 for urgent forthwith. Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That is approved. Okay, thank you very much. So next we'll take up, there are no more... Okay, so we'll go ahead and take...
And Mr. President...
Okay, we'll go ahead and take item 18. Yes, I'm sorry.
For item 18, there's been an amending motion that has been posted and circulated
Okay, we have
for 17 as well.
Okay, we have cards on 18. Okay, let's go ahead and take item 18 for cards. We've got Natasha Reyes. Yeah, Mr. Cedillo.
Yes, on 18, can we have that forthwith?
It's after we vote on it. It'll be a separate vote. Hello.
Good morning, council members. My name is Natasha Reyes. I'm an attorney with Disability Rights California. We are the advocacy and protection agency for the state of California, offering free legal services to people with disabilities. We are also part of the organizers and advocates for housing justice. We've been advocating on this assessment for fair housing, and we want to thank the city for engaging with us on our recommendations and incorporating many of them. In terms of Disability Rights California's recommendations, I would like to urge you to consider our recommendation to expand the Handy Worker program, which funds modifications, which we would like it to fund modifications for low-income people with disabilities in Los Angeles to make necessary modifications that would make their housing accessible for them. And encourage that everyone have affordable and accessible housing. But thank you again for all of the great work that you've done on this assessment and for the city's engagement. Thank you.
Natasha Reyes? Oh, I'm sorry, you just spoke. We'll bring up Wayne. Oh, he was already out of time, though. You're already out of time today, actually. Sorry, that was a mistake. Herman, you have 1 minute on this item and 1 minute for general public comment. You could do them both now. 1 minute and 1 minute. Stick to the item, please.
42 U.S.C. 1983. Housing discrimination by the City of Los Angeles, ACLU, and any organization of lawyers in law come here and have the right to sue DOJ Civil Rights, Discrimination, ADA Title II, Title III. The City of Los Angeles Assessment of Fair Housing stands for AFH. Armando fucking Herman disagrees with all these contentious motherfuckers like Herman. Fuck Herman the mayor and fuck all you white niggers for housing. Today, we still live in the street, Herman. Today, Mr. Mayor, I'm living homeless since 2008. And in all regards, on behalf of public interest and unreasonable justice,
Please don't yell in the microphone.
Fuck up, Jew. Fuck you.
Okay. So, thank you very much. No, you yelled in the microphone, and that's against the rules. Now you're disrupting the meeting. If you're going to disrupt the meeting, sergeants, please escort him out. Thank you.
Mr. President, for the record,
He's
Mr.
still
Herman is
disrupting this
continuing
meeting
to
and
disrupt the
yelling.
meeting as
Please
he's being
escort him out.
escorted out.
Yeah.
Mr. Herman is continuing to shout and scream in case the camera can't catch that.
For those of you who have never been here before, let me apologize for what we have to endure every day. And I know some of you are here on some very sensitive issues as well, so appreciate your patience. So with that, let's go ahead and open the roll on 18, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
$14 ayes.
And we have a request for that to be urgent forthwith. So we'll go ahead and open the roll for an urgent forthwith on that item as well. Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Okay, thank you very much. Next item, please.
Mr. President, that brings us to item number 17.
Okay, we'll go ahead and vote on 17. Please go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Okay, thank you very much. Next item, please. Oh, we have two here for general public comment. Leah Renee and Gregory Wright. So if you want to come on up, please.
Hi, my name is Leah. I dropped off a paper to you today. I'd like to bring to your attention that there's a problem in the Department of City Planning. The district attorney asked me to name names. I'm not comfortable with it, so I put it in writing because it's very awkward for me. But just so you know, I spoke with Debbie Lawrence yesterday, and she doesn't believe she has to uphold the California Code of Regulations for coastal development permits. So it's a serious offense if you just have pick and choose laws. And so I let it. She doesn't believe she has to comply with the California Code of Regulations for the Coastal Act, for CEQA, and so I'm asking you to have her step down or be transferred to another department because you're causing us extraordinary harm and hardship, me personally and my property, and now we know how you're circumventing the Coastal Act. Thank you very much. Please know this is your paper. Here it is. You all got a copy of it, stamped by the clerk. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Mr. Wright. Good morning, sir.
Hello. I attended today's meeting of the Public Safety Committee, chaired by yourself, Mr. Englander. You expressed support for trials and new technologies to address the relentless speeding and reckless driving occurring not just at street races, but all over the city. I've been almost run over several times. There's one way the city can really push forward simultaneously safer driving, decarbonization, and economic justice, and even a reduction in deliberate vehicle noise and vibration. And that's by lobbying our state representatives to pass legislation that will require all car insurance companies in California to both offer and robustly support some form, their own form of pay how you drive car insurance, which basically rewards with lower rates people who don't speed, who don't brake hard, who don't accelerate hard. Multiple simultaneous good outcomes will come from this if
Appreciate
only the
that.
city
Thank
will
you.
push the state.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. All right, thank you. So that concludes all of the agendized items. We have motions for posting and referral?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll go ahead and post and refer those items. Colleagues, do we have any announcements? No announcements, seeing none. I know we've got adjourning motions. So if we can have everybody please rise in council chambers, including our audience and guests, out of respect, we ask everybody to please rise. Mr. Rue, recognize you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today, I wanted to adjourn our meeting in memory of Skip Haynes. And I am joined by Ricky and several of his good friends, Jamie Hall and Blanche D'Souza. And, colleagues, Laurel Canyon has lost a champion. Skip Haynes passed away on October 2nd, 2017. I know many knew him in this room, and he was a fierce advocate for wildlife. His passion for protecting the wildlife corridors and his tireless work defending Laurel Canyon from the overdevelopment in Council District 4. But Skip also had a storied life and touched many people through his music, his advocacy, and his warm personality and great sense of humor. He was known worldwide for writing the song Lakeshore Drive by Eliota Haynes Jeremiah. But locally, he is known by the people and the wildlife of Laurel Canyon as their greatest defender. Skip founded the Laurel Canyon Animal Company, co-founded the Kirkwood Bull Foundation, and co-founded the Citizens for Los Angeles Wildlife, otherwise known as CLAW. He also started the Canyon newspaper, fought to save the wildlife corridors, wrote songs to help homeless animals find forever homes, and was an incredible organizer in Laurel Canyon. He is survived by his girlfriend, Ricky Polis, who's standing right next to me, and scores of Los Angeles wildlife whose homes he saved, and a larger-than-life legacy in Laurel Canyon. Laurel Canyon would not be the iconic canyon community it is today without Skip. He will be deeply missed, and I just got to say, Skip was so successful in defending the hillsides that it attracted more people to want to come and live in his neighborhood. Everybody wanted to live there. It's because of people like Skip, who was such a staunch defender of the wilderness, of the animals, of the ridgeline. And, and I got to tell you, he was a pain in my side. He was a bulldog. He was a bulldog, because once he grabbed onto an issue, he would not let go and never, ever take no for an answer. So, but, that's why we love him for that, and he will be sorely missed. Many will take his call to arms, and he will not be forgotten, and everything that he created and everything that he started will continue to go on. And I know Councilmember Koretz also knew him very well, and also wanted to say a few words.
Well, thank you, David. I also wanted to say a few things about how important Skip was to all of us. I first met him when we were working on a wildlife corridor that took us several years to protect, and along with that, the organization CLAW was created, and he was one of the founders, along with Tony Tucci and Ali Samard, who's now my director of communications. And that wildlife corridor has been protected. And out of this work, he has been known for his fierce advocacy of wildlife, and nicknamed the Canyon Defender by his neighbors. He worked passionately with my office on many issues, including the Department of Rec and Parks stopping the use of second-generation rodenticide in all 16,000 acres of our city parks. Also, when you drive in the high fire districts in the canyons, I want you to notice the red and white "No Smoking in the Brush Areas" signs. He worked passionately with my Chief of Staff, Joan Pellico, and the LA Fire Department to update the signs and to have them include a $1,000 penalty so people will actually pay attention. And that has helped protect our fragile hillsides from catastrophic fires. It was mentioned that Skip was involved in writing the song Lakeshore Drive. He had another life before he moved to Los Angeles in 1980, which was as a member of the band Aliota, Haynes, and Jeremiah. That song has become a Chicago anthem, but it also became more notable when it was used in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. So now a whole new generation has been introduced to that song. He also used his musical talent in a number of ways, including to protect the environment and to protect animals. He founded the LA County Animal Company, in which he made music by and for animals. He even co-wrote songs with Coco the gorilla. And one more thing I want to mention that was very notable in the neighborhood. Neighbors in Laurel Canyon had noticed a very ill coyote that was suffering from mange and was very sick. And he took action and worked with LA Animal Services and trapped it and found a wildlife rehabilitator who gave him advice. And he and his girlfriend lovingly rehabilitated this coyote and released it back into the wild. The entire neighborhood celebrated, and after her release, named her Rosie the Coyote. And in a city where coyotes are generally vilified, she became a symbol of our unique environment and a poster child of coexistence with urban wildlife. In the last year, he established the Kirkwood Bowl Foundation, dedicated to the preservation of our environment through community connectedness and environmental stewardship. And in his absence and memory, many have offered to take up the gauntlet and continue to fight for the issues he cared about. He will be sorely missed by everyone who knew him and animals and the environment.
Thank you. Seeing no other, we have another adjourning motions. I'm sorry, yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair and members. I ask that we adjourn in memory and celebration of the life of actor Robert Guillaume. Robert Guillaume was born in St. Louis, Missouri, 1927. He studied at St. Louis University and Washington University, then served in the United States military before beginning his career as an actor. Because there was already a Robert Williams in the Union, he took the French version of his last name, which is Guillaume, and named himself Robert Guillaume. He was a character actor on some iconic sitcoms, including Soap, which had a spinoff called Benson. He also starred on a host of television shows, including The Jeffersons, Sanford and Son, Saved by the Bell, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and A Different World. He might be best known to this generation as starring as the voice of Rafiki in The Lion King, which he later won a Grammy Award for his spoken word rendition of that play. We also knew Robert Guillaume not just as an actor and somebody who had celebrity status, but also someone who stepped up for activists. I cannot count the number of causes where maybe we needed a camera or maybe we needed a little more attention on an issue. And Robert Guillaume was one of a group of actors and celebrities that would show up and speak on behalf of an issue or speak on behalf of people. He certainly stepped up for, at the call of Karen Bass, to the Community Coalition at a key moment when Newt Gingrich and the federal government had taken all the money from that organization. We had a big fundraising event that Robert Guillaume headlined. And so we are very sad to see him go, but very grateful for the gift that he provided on this earth. We lost him due to complications related to prostate cancer, so it's just another reminder, Mr. Rue, that we all need to get our prostates checked whenever we have our annual checkup. So again, in loving memory and celebration of one Robert Guillaume.
Mr. Bonin.
Yeah, I just wanted to add a couple words about Robert Guillaume. I thought he was an amazing actor. And while he's best known for Benson, he also did a lot of work on stage. He had an amazing singing voice, was in Guys and Dolls. But for me, my favorite role that he played was the character of Isaac Jaffe on the television show Sports Night in the 1990s. It was an Aaron Sorkin-penned series. And he suffered a stroke during the first season of that show, and recovered enough that they wrote him into the show as recovering from the stroke. And he went on and he spent a lot of time and energy working on charities and causes to try to raise money for people who are victims of strokes and to come up with medical strategies to help combat it. Great actor.
Thank you. Seeing no other adjourning motions. Oh, wait, Mr. Kretz. Oh, wait, there's more.
Yeah, I just wanted to add about Robert Guillaume. He had an incredible voice, and probably I got to see him in the part that he played that displayed that the most. For a while, he was the Phantom in LA's Phantom of the Opera, and he had just an incredible voice. I think he was the best Phantom, and it was just an honor that I was lucky enough to see him in that role. I also knew him very slightly because he had a kid that went to elementary school with my daughter. So a nice guy and a great actor and a great singer.
So we adjourn this meeting in honor of Skip and both Robert. So thank you very much. And that concludes this agenda, and this council meeting is adjourned. Thank you all. Be safe.